Gotta do something about that intro. It does not belong to me, but it's kind of a grooving thing for the afternoon show. Anyway, welcome to Beyond the Outer Realm. We are the sister show of the Outer Realm, which airs every Wednesday and Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, I welcome back, my dear friend, Carolann Iadorola, who is the host of Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on Thursdays. And you can catch me there this Thursday with her. See, some of us want to spend our New Year's with you guys. We're going to be doing it. Anyway, today we thought it would be fun to talk about thought forms and manifestations, predictions, prophecies, just the power of who we really are and what we can create, what we can become. There's just so much to it. And we thought, you know what? Let's do it. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, who knows where it'll go? I think this one always goes in good places. So today would be no different. Anyway, Carolann, hello. How are you? Hi, Edie. How are you? How are you?
Heidi!
Yep. So glad you're here. I thought, God, it'd just be like the perfect person to do this segment with me, especially like today. It's so laid back and it's just fun,
Yep, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to Thursday big time because that show's going to rock.
Yeah, it's going to kind of spin off this one in a way.
Yeah. Yep.
So I thought that could be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really good show. See, we just got a whole week full of fun goodness for you guys. So anyway, yeah, the thought forms, manifestation, prophecies, predictions, anything that, our potential as to who we are and what we can actually put out there, especially as a collective. So where do you want to start with this? I mean, we just got out of the Christmas season. Why don't we just get into some Christmassy things like Santa being a big egregore.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I was blown away by the amount of stuff that's out there. Like, I'm not looking at Christmas the same ever again.
No. Nope. Yeah, because he's. I always, I used this as a tool. When I realized doing research years ago that there are actually paranormal investigators out there who specialize in researching only Santa, the whole phenomenon, I was kind of like,
oh wow,
that's a thing. Apparently, yeah. Apparently, he's just a really old thought form that was created like throughout the centuries, right? So through like a collective belief sort of thing, and it's just like it's crazy. Like it really is a thing. And he's structure, like he comes from something so much older, but technically, if you look at it, he may just be a sort of spell. They say this could be a spell that we cast year after year because of the intentions, and we leave offerings, cookies and milk.
Exactly.
Just it seems so benign,
It's
but I don't
so
know.
pagan. It's so deep rooted in paganism.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away.
Yeah.
All of the ritual and practices and spell casting and all this stuff. Seriously, I'm never going to look at Chris. And, it cracks me up because you get all these religious people, these uber religious people that they don't know what they're doing by practicing and having these rituals in their home. Like they don't know the root of where this comes from. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever Christianity would conquer or come into an area, they would amalgamate the traditions, which was a good thing to do because it made the people, blending belief systems and holidays would give unity, in many, many ways. This is no different. But I think if people really get into these sort of things, they'll see that it goes back even further than paganism. It goes back to the time of Nimrod.
Yeah.
And Babylon, ancient Babylon, and things like that, and you can look up images and find that Nimrod would sit here, this much like Santa with his with his holding the Christmas tree and a gift of offering, and Nimrod had his tree branch,
Yeah.
hold a reindeer type, critter. I mean, it goes back, and that's 2000 BC.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a whole the long beard, the reindeers, the evergreen trees.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of things there that have been brought together, which
Absolutely. I mean, it hasn't always been about, bright lights and hot cocoa and, like you said, cookies and stuff. For
Mhm.
much of history, this midwinter season was considered a luminal time
Mhm.
and a period where the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead grew dangerously thin. And I always thought like Halloween was that time of year. I mean, it's obviously both, but I think Christmas kicks Halloween's butt.
Well, they say, we have such a belief in the fact that the veil is the thinnest at Halloween. Apparently, in anything that I have read throughout some of my research and just digging,
Yeah.
for information, that it's the thinnest this time of year,
Yeah, it's crazy.
So if you think about it, as a collective, we can't. I mean, let's look at like Slender Man. We've mentioned him before as well, you know. Hello, Ed, my cousin. Hello. Yes. um, but yeah, I mean, you're getting into as a collective, this thing was created in a gaming chat room. And let me tell you something else. And this is something else I have to do a show on. There is a thing called what is it called? Let me try to find this because it will
Yeah.
blow your mind as far
Oh my
as
goodness.
mindset. There is a thing out there called Mall World. Okay,
Mm.
Mall World, dreams by multitudes. I mean, multitudes of people with back rooms like extensions they're all connected, and they go into these long hallways where there's nothing, just room after room, and they're in malls. I've had this similar dreams. Like there's hardly anybody there, and you're aware that there's all this stuff here, but there's nothing going on. And guess what? It was created in the same place that Slender Man was created, which was a place called Creepypasta.
Oh,
Right? So how do I
jeez.
find out about that? Because my whimsical daughter, who's in her 30s, is over at Christmas going, "Oh, haven't you ever heard of Mall World? What's a Mall World? What is that? Is that something I should know?" She goes, "Oh yeah, this, and this." I'm like, "Hey, Mel." And I'm like, so there's a manifestation again.
Yeah. Is that the one where this guy made videos? Well, it started off with a girl hopping through a mirror in another portal. And then all of a sudden she ends up in these empty malls. And then I saw videos like that. And then at the end, there's always like a demon, like Slender Man coming for her, attacking her. And that freaked me out so much. I had to stop watching because it was just
I I
too
I
crazy.
don't I don't have all the details because, I mean, she
Yeah.
sent me links, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking this is like would make for a really good show. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole series of things here to be looked at, but I just wanted to make mention of it because it's something that we this has been like, what is this collective mind?
Mm.
And this specific chat platform, gaming platform, which is well known for the Slender Man phenomenon,
Ugh.
has this whole other thing that's
Yeah.
manifesting and growing and growing and growing. I don't know.
I don't know. That kind of freaks me out.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It is wiggy. Hi, Kevin. It is wiggy. It is wiggy. So, okay. So where do you wanna go? Where do you wanna go from?
I don't know. I thought maybe we could start talking about thought forms in and of themselves.
Mhm.
Like in esoteric traditions, like theosophy, for example,
Mhm.
these thought forms were known to be like energetic entities created by intense or repetitive thinking. And that kind of ties into a lot of what we're seeing all over social media by manifesting, by repeating constantly. Like I was reading Lady Gaga. I used to get up every day and say, I am a star. I am a star. I am famous. I am famous. And a lot of these celebrities have done that, this repetitive thinking, these thought forms. I don't know. I think they are 100% legit and that we can create our own destiny if we believe, but we have to believe. It just can't be words. It has to be based in a deep rooted belief. What say you about that?
I agree with you. I agree with that 100%. I believe that we do have the power to manifest. I mean, there are people who'll teach you how to do it. Um, I mean, one example of manifestation would be the Philip experiment,
Yes.
where you had researchers, paranormal researchers or parapsychology, investigators who decided, well, we're going to create this entity named Philip. And, they even had a medium come in because Philip was like they were manifesting, things were happening. I mean, there was paranormal activity occurring and bilocations, like things were being moved around, items being, showing up in different places. And when a medium came in, she picked up on a spirit named Philip. So was it a manifestation or did they bring something in? Like there's
Yeah.
a whole thing with that, but it was fascinating just because, when you're getting into the whole power of manifestation like that, it's just like it can go literally anywhere.
Yeah. I wonder too if demons don't attach themselves to these thought forms. They see an opportunity to hop in. And, you can see that happening with AI now because I'm seeing all over the place and documenting stuff because I
Mhm.
really wanted to get you on our next show and talk about that because the people like Peter Thiel from Palantir, he's the creator of this and believes fully that AI is possessed by demonic entities. I mean, think about that. The guy that actually created. So I'm just wondering if these demons aren't just hopping on board this train. Hi, Wayne. If they're not, taking advantage. Same thing with UFOs. You see these orbs all over the place.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, people started. I used to see just UFOs, craps. Now it's orbs, starting with Chris Bledsoe, right?
Mm.
He started this whole orb phenomenon, and now everybody hopped on board. Everybody's taking pictures of these orbs. And I'm just wondering if maybe these demonic forces, again, aren't just taking advantage of this thought form that we're
Hmm.
creating. I don't know. It's freaky stuff.
Well, I mean, sorry, like anything, um, if it's electronic, computerized, and anything of that nature, I would think it's fair game.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we end up with even spirits can manipulate the lights, can
Yeah.
manipulate the television. Then you have things that have more energy, more power, like ET, like other ethereals, like demons,
Yeah.
anything coming through can manipulate that. AI is another tool. I mean, I've had someone on my show, who talked about a book who talked about working with chat and creating pretty much a character who turned out to be, this thing that had plagued him in his
Oh,
life or had contacted him came into this program and all of a sudden started knowing a whole lot more about him, more
oh,
than what, like he said, he goes, this chat progresses at a certain level. He goes, mine progressed way beyond where it should have. So it shows there's definitely something going on with it. And look at the grieving AI. I think you and I have talked about that
grief
before
bots.
as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah. Scary stuff. I mean,
Anything's possible.
that was an episode out of Dark Mirror. And
Yes.
somebody jumped on
Yes.
board with that grief bot thing and,
That's right.
making money out of it. I don't know.
I know. But I mean, this is something, you're getting to a lot of these, you know, getting into sensory stuff. if you're looking into psychology, neuroscience, things like that, you know, getting into these, for example, the homunculus, am I saying that correctly? They believe that this is a sensory thing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like the body's representation of something, which like it's an illustration of our body's representation,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, you kind of think to yourself, what? So is that like the Frankenstein monster was used as a really good example of that,
Right.
because it was this sort of not a machine man, but it was something that was put together but vulnerable, right? So sort of like a golem, I guess, who was and like animating some kind of a spirit, but it was not bred, let's say, from the womb, but more from the grave. So if you're starting to look at things like that, that gets to be really, you can get real technical with a lot of this stuff in the creations, but they go back. They go back so far. I mean, they go back way back, you know, like thousands of years
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's embedded in ancient belief systems.
Yeah, like, doesn't it go back to Odin? I was reading something about Odin and the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, during Germanic Yuletide, Odin supposedly had this wild hunt,
Mm.
which was a ghostly procession of hunters and hounds flying through. That's so trippy because
That's
there
Norse.
you
Yeah.
see. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
had these hounds flying through the night sky, and hence that kind of evolved into Santa and his reindeer, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
if you were caught outside, you could get swept up in the spirit world forever. Children would leave their boots filled with straw for Odin's eight-legged horse. I forget his name, Sleipnir or something. He had
Yeah.
some weird name like that, hoping for a gift in return. And that's where the stocking thing came from. I mean, it's so trippy.
It is because, you're looking at many, like if you get into all of the different cultures, they all have similar tales.
Yeah,
And when you put them all together, it's just like this, what came first? Like, are we just dealing with cultural stuff, or are we dealing with things that went further back? Christianity, often, took from other
yeah, yeah,
cultures and other traditions, many times because it had amalgamated its beliefs with those of, the area that they were taking over, and because of the Romans. I mean, you're getting into a whole lot of different
yeah, yeah,
pagan rituals there, whole lot of them. But the church made it their own, and tried to have a lighter side to it. But yet, you get into the church, there's a whole lot of really deep, dark stuff there.
oh gosh, yeah,
They were well aware of a lot of this, because in with taking on the traditions, they took in a lot of the belief systems, and like the pagan rituals and things like that. Like, they were aware of what worked, but they also became very versed in it and kept that information, because let's face it, we end up, these are your people now. The Romans have come in. It's like, we've taken this area, we've taken these people, like, you learn about them, and then you work that. It's that and more.
yeah. It's all for control. I mean,
Yeah.
didn't the past pope? I forgot his name. I'm an awful Christian, but I forgot his name. Um, he opened up these like several portal doors. Didn't you see that? I know we
Last
talked
pope,
about
yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
was
He
freaky
looked very,
stuff.
very concerned. He looked very concerned on the planet.
Yeah. But
You
we
know?
never saw the whole video. We just saw
No.
the beginning ceremony with these men in freaky masks and capes and stuff, and it was so demonic. Like, you
Yeah.
hate to see the world through, and I always think of you because I remember you saying, not everything is demonic, and that's so true. Not
Mm.
everything is demonic, but there's a lot of stuff that is, especially nowadays with all of this coming to the surface, the truth floating to the top
Mhm.
about all this satanic
Everything.
worship in music and Hollywood. It's everywhere. It's prevalent.
All the
So,
world's a stage, and everything's hidden in plain
yeah,
sight, because they need your consent. So how do
right.
they get us to consent? That's the rule. We need to consent. But if you're putting it in film, or if you're putting it out as some kind of a message that you are watching it and, hey, this movie just became a hit, it's consent. You
I
know?
mean, look at what Stranger Things has done to the zeitgeist of culture. It is
Mhm.
absolutely embedded.
Yeah.
All I hear about is Stranger Things. And first of all, I would never subscribe to Netflix because
Yeah.
I just wouldn't for many reasons. But,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that show has just permeated culture in such a way.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you watch it, but or Wayne, but
Sure
I've
have
seen
watched it.
clips. Yeah, I saw the first series of it when it first hit, but
Well,
not nothing.
I had someone on my show years ago who claimed that she was the real Agent 11.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm like, "I need to watch this series."
Yeah.
And I couldn't not watch it, and he says it's on. I won't say it out loud in case we get in trouble, but for
Yeah.
free. So but
What's
it's up there.
S-Flick?
Yeah, S
Yeah, what is that? I
yeah.
never heard of that,
I
Kevin.
don't either. Yeah, we'll have to look that one up. So,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, so that's pretty much, that's pretty much the gist of it is there are things that are put out there in plain sight, and I think we're
Exactly.
going through a stage right now where nothing is really being well, I won't say nothing, there's a lot that we'll never find out about, but there's a lot of things that are no longer being hidden.
Exactly.
They've come out of the shadows, you know?
Exactly. And then what are we supposed to do with all this truth? Like, it's dumped on us from like sometimes I'll get wrapped up in doom scrolling and then after an hour I'm like, I can't anymore. There's so much of it out there of, people telling you things they've discovered on earth, whether it's in politics or
Mhm,
something esoteric, and it just gets to be too much. And like if you're into, the Bible and stuff like that, the Bible says that information is meant for God. This access of like unlimited information is a godly thing. It's supposed to
mm,
be for God, not for humans, in so many words. And yet here we are inundated with everything and anything at our fingertips. Pretty soon phones are we're going to be wearing, everything's going to be a wearable,
mm.
because again, like Star Trek, when I was a kid watching that,
Mm,
we used to think that would never happen, but we're like even way past that technology now.
mhm,
So maybe the thought form of, the human collective just thinking
mhm.
about these things comes into fruition, right? I mean,
Why not?
yeah,
Why not? I mean, they have, there are dark projects that have been done
yeah,
throughout, the decades. We don't know what they can pull out of your mind. As it is now, they can manipulate everything through frequency. I mean, there are patents for it. Not like you have to take our word
yep,
for it, but there are patents for that thing, that sort of thing. And I just read something and they provided a patent number. So I'm going to blap this off without actually, I haven't had the opportunity yet to look up this patent number, but there seems to be documentation attached to it where a certain company, a certain company, if you can recognize that right
gotcha.
there, okay, is now coming out with wireless, yeah, right, wireless, some of those, and I again, I just don't wanna flag us,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
but now that can apparently pick up on your brain waves and pick up
yeah.
or trying to read, thoughts, and I thought, "That seems extreme." I mean, that seems a bit extreme, but with everything else that's going on out there, who the crap knows if it's a possibility or not? I mean, they go with being able to monitor the heart, and your pulse and things like that. Like your nervous system now it's moving up to this, and so yeah, and because that specific company doesn't even allow. I mean, you can get adapters for wired, and a lot of times they're just defective. They never work properly. At least I've not had any great experiences with them. But that's what I recommend. I still
Yeah.
hold on to the old number 6. That
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
last
yeah.
one they had that had it, right? So
Well,
that's
you're spot on with that because years ago, they
Mm.
started the Internet of Bodies. First, there was the Internet of Things, right? And then they created the Internet of Bodies. And if you Google 802.15.6, if you just put that in your browser, you will see that that is the URL for the international standard for wireless body area networks. Okay. So it makes tons of sense that what they're doing is, and what they've done is connected us to the internet through wireless. So
Mhm.
absolutely, our thoughts, our heart rate, everything,
Mhm.
our BIOS field is now connected through Wi-Fi and through 5G towers. So, and it's a fact. Like I said, just plug it in. For people that don't believe, just go to your browser, put 802.15.6, and you will see that that is the international standard for wireless body area network. So, if for anybody that doubted that would happen, it's here. Look at the healthcare networks too; they're all plugged in to HIPAA. Is like a joke now.
Mm.
There's no more, there's no more privacy. It is scary stuff.
We're
It
there.
really, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we're there. So,
we're there. We've been there.
yeah. Oh, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, unless you're perceptive enough to be able to pick that up, which is definitely a thing. So,
Yeah,
you
right?
have to be careful. There's a lot of this out there, and when you're getting, always remember technology. If they tell you they're this far, they're usually considerably further.
Exactly.
Right? Because 'Cause you're trying to figure this out, meanwhile, they're already miles ahead of you with that.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. I mean, Michelle, you're a sensitive and an energy reader. This guy said if you take the palm of your hand and you put it like right on the back of your head here,
mm,
leave it there for a few seconds, you can feel the pulse of all the signals, because they're using satellite. I know it sounds so conspiratorial, but
mhm,
it's the truth. They're using satellite signals to manifest the Internet of Bodies as well. So it's not only Wi-Fi, it's a satellite. It's
mhm.
anything that any tech that they have out there. And this guy said, you if you leave your hand there for a few minutes, and kind of go into like a quiet meditative mode, you could feel the energy pulsing off your knuckles. Think about that. I mean, that's
It
some
doesn't
scary stuff.
surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, there's a reason. There's so much, so many of
Oh,
these
yeah.
towers up and such. It's all frequency based. There have been people doing all kinds of experiments on this. Like, people have caught on pretty early on. So it's protect yourself. Just it's all you can do is just protect yourself. Do your research and don't take anybody's word for anything. Don't take our word for anything. I mean,
Exactly.
our
Yeah, exactly.
information, my information is this, any of us, you research, and I
Yeah,
don't do the AI research. I do research, I cross-reference and cross-reference. If I can find it in a book, is good because I've got a really great library. But it's just there's so much. There's just so much. Sometimes it's information overload. And when you go online, sometimes so much stuff is put out there that you tend to sit back and say, "Okay, what is what?" So really,
exactly.
I mean, if there's something that interests you, really take the time to research it because they will give you information overload so you don't know what you're looking at, and after a while, you could be sidetracked into a whole other different direction.
Exactly. And it's all intentional, of course.
Yes.
Keep us
Yes.
confused and distracted. I mean,
Mm.
you know, and you
Yeah.
talked about egregores before, right?
Mhm.
And these collective thought forms are so powerful, especially when you get large groups of people that share the same beliefs
Mhm.
and they focus, right?
Mhm.
They all focus on this one collective thought form.
Mhm.
And that in turn influences social behavior, cultural shifts, things like that.
Mhm.
Absolutely 100% legit, I believe, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Mhm.
I mean, we've
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about that before about how tulpas and things and how they're
Mhm.
created. So,
Yeah, exactly, but that just gives you it's just it's another thing that just makes you realize how powerful we really are if we can create this stuff. And that's where, like, we'll get into the whole consciousness thing, like on your show. But as a consciousness, as a collective, we can do incredible things. I mean, if you can look at, I always say, like, I've used the Santa one the most because he's really worldwide. And this is
Mm,
a really, like, aside from the fact that people have amalgamated so much into the this being, um, when you're factoring in he's a worldwide phenomenon, it's sort of like, wow. Despite the cultural stuff, the one that we know now, there have actually been sightings of where he just disappears. People have seen him on the street. One sighting was, again, this is from this one paranormal investigator, and he's just like, one person had said, "No, I saw him walking on the street late at night with an
Santa?
elf." Yeah, with an elf. And when they realized they
What?
were being followed by the guy, they both just disappeared in thin air. And
What?
other yeah, and there've been, other people who have, of course, they see him in their own home. And this is a traditional man in the red and white suit, by the way. There's a traditional Santa, right? And apparently with that, um, they've seen him once they realize he's being watched and he's in their living room, not so jolly, pretty angry that you're up watching him. Like, and this has come up a few times. So what are you really dealing with? A
Exactly.
thought form, or something that's a representation because you've manifested it within, for that, in that time and space. Like, there's a lot to this stuff. And that's why I like to use it as an example, because it really goes back. I mean, it really goes back, and it's something that's celebrated all over the world through different, cultures and belief systems and
Mm.
traditions. And then you've got this.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you know what's freaky too, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There's a bunch of women going on Instagram and TikTok. And what's the name of that company that gives free gifts to kids? Angel something.
mm,
If anybody in the chat knows, it's called Angel something, where they give gifts to kids that can't like afford, their parents can't afford it. And they get on I saw a dozen of them. They're
mm,
getting on social media, showing the gifts that they got for free, donated, and
mhm,
complaining about them, that these Christmas gifts were terrible, that their kids didn't want them, and that they wanted a better thing, more expensive thing, and how disappointed they were. So I'm
mm,
thinking, is this what Christmas has become?
mm.
Like, is this what we're teaching children now? And these parents are setting this awful example instead of being grateful and saying, "Hey, look, be
Mhm.
grateful we got these few gifts mommy and daddy couldn't afford this year." But no, no. So that kind of blew me away too, because Christmas has morphed
Yep.
into some, right? Hasn't it? It's just like when I was growing up, when we were growing up, it
We had
was all about,
traditions too, though. I started my own
yeah,
traditions with my family,
right.
for Christmas Eve and Christmas night
Yeah.
and through the holidays, and they've gone on to carry it on, and this was stuff that my family, like my parents did and my grandparents and so on, and I kept that going, right? But now I think it's just we live in a very superficial time
Yeah.
as well. I mean, there are many families, don't get me wrong, who, you can't always afford to be, like you say, the superficial side of things. And there are some that can. And you just get into that point where it's like, I mean, it's in your face, it's everywhere. When you're looking, like an 8-year-old walking around with like with a cell phone, they have it. It's kind of hard, or tablets and things like that, which are great
Yeah.
teaching tools with some of the tablets. I mean, some of the schools use them. I mean, there are benefits, and then there are. I think if we can just not lose sight of the traditions. I have always tried to preach to my own kids who are all adults now, buy a memory. If you're going to do something with your money, get a memory. And
Yeah. That's
I've been a
cool.
world traveler as long as I can remember, and I've bought my memories, and my experiences have always outweighed, you know, the
You don't
purchase
hear
of
that
the
today, though. It's all
no.
about
Yeah.
monetary,
Mhm.
and it's being taught, like, to the kids. It's just Christmas
Mhm.
is just morphed into something else. It's
Mhm.
it's just, I
That's a
don't know.
sign of the times,
Yeah,
in a way, Uh, Hillbilly Herb, God, I love that handle, I'm just saying.
I know. It
Creating
cracks
our
me up.
creating our own negative attachments as tulpas or egregores is a scary thought. It is.
Yeah,
It is, and now the fact that it could happen with technology even more so,
yeah, absolutely.
is, yeah, it's it's a thing. It is a thing, and, a lot of people are getting in trouble with it. Talk to Nathaniel Gillis. I think, we did a show on that as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Hardcore on that, so but with all of that, getting into manifestations, I mean, they say, "Well, you can manifest your own reality." Okay. And how? I mean, we can manifest crazy things like Santa and tulpas and all this crazy stuff, which leads me to think in creating this on a mass scale. Maybe it's because it's the collective energy going into it, or is it because it's something slipping into the manifestation, the being you're trying to manifest and being this, like you say, this negative attachment. Because and again, there are those who think, nope, you can manifest your own reality. Some people win the lottery, they're almost habitual. They manifest the way they want to live. Is that, I mean, you look at even the world of the elite, somehow a lot of this became a thing, and they also have access to a lot of, you know, I mean, ancient technology possibly, but I mean, there are private libraries all over the world that the public will never be made privy to that has a lot. The ancient mystery schools, they have access to all of that, and they learn how to do all of this, right?
Very much so, and that's been hidden and will continue to be hidden from us. I
Mhm,
mean, we'll probably never get access to
mhm,
that stuff, but it's crazy when you see the rituals too
mm,
that were performed during Christmas. Like there was a ritual of fate and marriage. I
mm,
was like shocked. So young people used to use the darkness of Christmas to scry or predict their future romantic partners.
mm,
They would there's a thing called the apple seed star. They would slice an apple crossways on Christmas Eve, and that seed would form a five-pointed star, right?
mm.
And that would bring health and a wedding, the promises of a wedding. But if the seeds were lopsided or damaged, it was an omen of bad luck. So all this stuff would be performed. There was a shoe toss on Christmas Eve where a
Mhm,
woman would stand with her back to the door, which cracked me up, and she would throw a shoe over her shoulder. And if the toe pointed towards the door, it meant she would be leaving the house and getting married that year. And if it pointed away, she would end up not getting married. So, like all these rituals
it's a
around,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, around Christmas time.
Wow.
So I'm like finding all this stuff. I'm cracking
Mm,
up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The people, it was full of pagan ritual.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, there's some cultures, who just don't let that go.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at those, who still are, there's still druids that exist today. There are still some hardcore, pagans, and you go
Oh,
to
yeah.
certain parts of the world. I mean, it's celebrated everywhere, but you places people who have access to the different henges. You're looking at these like Stonehenge, for example. You look at ancient monuments throughout the world that, they were constructed so the light hits at a certain time of the year in a
Yep.
certain way, and people flock to these places. Like, they still, um, resonate, and they still are very much involved in the ancient ways, right? When
Which
people
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean,
Oh, I
you
don't, absolutely don't.
yeah, you do you, do whatever belief system. Like even with witches, like I interview a lot of them. I find them fascinating
Mhm,
and they write awesome books and they have a lot of positivity that they share. It's not always about, like when I was a teenager, you couldn't talk about hi Patsy. You couldn't talk about witchcraft or anything like that because you'd be shunned. You couldn't talk about these things. And nowadays, it's a lot more open and at least people can, oh, best wishes to you. And I want to say I've been hearing so many people getting sick, so I want to send my thoughts and prayers. I know Heidi is just getting over it too. My best friend is sick as a dog, so prayers to everybody who's struggling with that right now. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of weird how at least now, and I'm grateful for that, we can have these conversations and they're more widely accepted and acknowledged, and I'm grateful for that. At least we have a platform where we can have these conversations. I mean, we have to watch certain things, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There are other platforms, of course, where you can speak a bit more freely, and you will find some of our shows on said platforms as well, not in private mode. And anyway, so getting back to manifestation, we do have the ability to tap in, I think, to the collective consciousness, to the ethereal world, right? The ethereal world. People who have incredible abilities of sight, being able to, like, throughout time, getting into I mean, what we say, like, end times. I don't that's a whole other show as well. But when you're getting into, like, these people who like Edgar Casey, like Baba Vanga, there are people who've had some, even Rasputin, believe it or not, who have had incredible gifts of sight, and even into modern times, this is still happening. You're getting into, where are they getting the information? You look at the Hopi. The Hopi have been, they've been giving prophecies from early on, right? And they say we're living in that time right now, right?
Yeah,
So,
like Michael just mentioned the telepathy tapes, which is a whole mind-blowing thing in and of itself.
That is, yes. So but that's what I mean. Like, we have these incredible abilities, and maybe that's a reason why there's so many different frequencies being manipulated right now to keep us from tapping into these sources, right? I've known people who've made incredible predictions.
Wow.
Then you end up with, like, certain organizations at your doorstep going, oh,
yeah, you don't want that.
You do not. You do not. So,
like, I'm a big believer in the pineal gland and the calcification of it. So much of what they've done to calcify that intentionally, like fluoride and chemtrails and the whole lot of the stuff. And I think a lot of people are working hard to decalcify and open that up. And I think with that comes the emergence of all of our true nature and ability to be able to do these things. I had a girl on my show once. She was mind blowing. She actually could use telepathy to move things, and I've seen her do it. No fake news, no AI. She was also a wind, like she'd go outside and manifest the wind and move it towards things. I mean, this girl had incredible abilities, but she worked very hard to clear her pineal gland and do the work for years. And with that comes a lot of our true innate abilities. Right, Michelle?
I agree. I think it does take a lot of hard work. Hence, Hillbilly's comment. The technology itself keeps us from tapping in. We don't need to use telepathy if we are lazy and just message. 100%.
100%.
Michael says, after several years of working on lucid dreaming and meditation, not holding any breakthroughs, I'm hopeful that my surgery will allow me to do some of the things that I've been working on for so long. Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt, Michael. Tumors located cause great inability to do a lot of things. So now I'm hopeful I can continue my efforts to expand my mind and connection to our collective consciousness, it is so much easier than people think
Beautiful.
to connect to that. I mean, just this is like you can do these experiments very easily. I've talked about this before. I would put out like either a song, put out
Mm,
a song, and then the song starts showing up everywhere. Or
yes.
I would put random words. Like one was like
Yes.
one that was hardly ever used anymore, which was swell. I'm like, God, that's swell. And I started saying swell, and I started seeing it everywhere, and people were
Yeah.
saying it. I'm like, I know I'm not all
Yeah.
that powerful, but holy crap. It
Yeah.
goes to show you that
Oh,
that
absolutely.
it happens. Like it is not that hard to tap into it. So if everybody every single day just put out positive thoughts into the collective consciousness, even just one positive thought. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if even half of us did that? If
Exactly.
even a small percentage of us did that. There's so much there's a reason that there's so much manifestation coming from the other
Mhm.
side of things
Absolutely.
that is fear-based, anxiety-based, negative, divided. There's a lot being put into the collective consciousness. And there are those who react to that because we don't know why, right? Some people don't really think like, oh, this is the collective consciousness speaking. No, you just feel it and that's what you go with. But, if you counter that with a positive thought and everybody started doing that, you would see the scales balance out a little bit more, if not tip into your favor.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's a cool word. Swell. Yeah.
Swell, yeah. Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
see that everywhere, Michelle.
I know. Swell. I know. We're doing it again. Yeah. So supercharge the field with love.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, I remember when the Law of Attraction came out, um, the book, it blew up huge, and, the core principle of that was like attracts like, right?
Mm,
And by aligning your inner state and your thoughts and feelings with your desired outcome, you're supposed to be able to pull these things towards you. But I think a lot of people got disappointed in that because they thought that they could just think of these things and manifest them. But it's so much deeper than that. It
mm,
has to be an ingrained belief. Like you have to really meditate and believe. Like I have certain mantras that I say during the day, and I say them 8, 10 times a day. So, like, if I get anxious, I always say, everything is okay in this now moment. The universe always works in my favor. And let me tell you, that has so much power. Why? Because I believe that. It's not just words anymore, it's an actual belief system. And I think that was a big part of the problem with the law of attraction, that people just thought they could utter the words, but no, it's way deeper than that.
mhm. It is, there are people who even post photos up,
Mm,
they'll put pictures up and so on every day. So they look at it every day. And
exactly.
you kind
Vision
of
boards,
wonder,
right?
yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
wonder, like, is this the thing that I want to do? Like, is this, you know, for example, somebody I know put a picture of a house. He wanted up there. Looked at it's my house, my house, my house, my house. Got the house.
Wow.
House ended up being a bit of a money pit. So it's kind of like, wait a minute,
Right, you
how
really want that.
I know. Is that a thing?
That's
Or
funny,
I know, right?
but it's true. Be
So it's
careful what you ask for.
yes, because what I mean, like we just
Yeah,
don't know. We just don't know. Like
no,
it's a matter of sometimes, yeah, it all looks good,
yeah,
like what we want. But if you think about that, is it because you should only have things that are not out of want?
mm.
Like people, I want the lottery, I want the lottery, I want the lottery. It's
Always
kind of like
materialism, yeah,
materialism. Yeah. So I don't know. You know, you need to feel it and revel in the gratitude if being manifested. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think gratitude, I try not to let a night go by where I don't show
Absolutely.
gratitude and I'm not thankful. I try to start my day off with the same momentum, and it sets the stage.
Yeah.
It's like I try. I used to, work with this woman who came from, obviously was an attachment thing. So we got that resolved, but the mindset
Mm.
had gone so far down
Mm.
that it was just bringing more things in
Oh,
through
jeez.
herself. So I would just spend every day and every morning. I made sure she had 2 to 3, sometimes more, positive memes every day.
Mm.
That's how I would text them to her, and she would save them in a file, and whenever she felt low, she would go in and she would look at them, but that's how I wanted her to start her day. So I
Yeah.
would just send her really positive affirmations, and over time, you could see the difference where she was just more upbeat and uplifted
Oh, nice.
because this is how her day was starting. She was bringing in,
Absolutely.
positive thoughts and this is what she was focusing on instead
Yeah, yeah.
of it goes to show it just it works.
It does. I fully believe it. And back to what you were saying before, like, do you really want those things? Like the house example. It reminds me of, the genie in the bottle. You rub the bottle, the genie, you
Yeah,
get 3 wishes. Those in every story I've ever seen, those 3 wishes always ended up in disaster.
right.
So I think it was a telling tale.
Yeah.
You wish for these things, but are they always the right thing for you? So I
Mhm.
think when we manifest, we need to like think about that and not always want to manifest a car or a house or something,
Mm,
but manifest your growth spiritually, manifest happiness for
mhm.
other people, wellness for other people. Because I think by doing that, all good things come to you anyway. Because the
Oh,
universe always works in our favor, even though we may not see it at the time. But I really believe that the universe works in our favor
I
if you let
agree.
it.
What you put out there, you attract. So if you're
Absolutely.
putting out this barrage of negativity, that comes back, right? So if you put out positive stuff, that comes back. I love that. I love this one. It doesn't hurt to leave gems and silver for the river sparrows. Last time I did that, I found a brand new chainsaw on the side of the road.
Oh my gosh, that's
Everybody's
wonderful.
gonna be out there now throwing throwing coins out into the river.
Oh my goodness, I
I
love
know.
that.
I
I
know.
love that.
I know. So, um, Michael, I have some hearing loss due to the tumor because of my vestibular nerve. Since the surgery, there's been the weirdest audio sensations being produced by my brain as it recovers. I can hear full
Mm,
conversations of what sounds like radio broadcasts, where I
oh,
hear talking laughter, even sections of multimedia input like they cut into another person with different audio. Other examples are digital echoes, large bangs, unrecognizable audio cues like bits and pieces of songs. Um, that does not surprise me because your body will compensate somehow. You know how they say sometimes people who have no vision will have
yes.
exceptional hearing or their other senses will be heightened.
Compensates, yeah.
Yes, this sounds like it could definitely be, something along those lines, but I also think that when you maybe, Michael, what I call the clutter, the background noise, you're not
Mm,
getting all that right now, so maybe you're
yeah,
actually hearing different individual waves, because the clutter's not all there.
exactly.
There's just so much
He
clutter out there, background noises
Yeah, it
that are
sounds
always
like that.
interfering. Yeah,
Maybe
I mean
he's tapping into, a different
frequency?
multiverse,
Yeah,
frequency.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. I would say now's the best time for you to start meditating, Michael, because you don't have that clutter going on. You're
yeah,
actually able to really hear something like, what you're supposed to be hearing. Maybe you'll get messages. Maybe a lot of this will come forward. It's strange because like I say, like I've had a lot of these experiences that, Michael talks about. And I just find that sometimes maybe internally we're more prepared maybe to hear it, or, because at the time that I was hearing a whole barrage of things like that was while my mother was in the hospital, and I knew she was within 2 it only happened for 2 weeks. Not that I
Wow.
haven't had little bits and pieces before, but it was happening consistently even while I was awake, driving, not even in one spot, and I mean, I was hearing crazy different like, songs, some of them just, like, ancient drumming and just crazy,
Wow.
crazy stuff, Gregorian chants, and one was like a choir. I'm just like, "God, like, sounds almost angelic." It would almost bring you to the brink of tears, and then when my mother was talking to a friend of hers, who was a very gifted medium, and literally the day before my mom passed, she said, "The angels are singing for you. Don't you realize that?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly what that is." And so it made me feel better anyway. But
of
I'll tell you
course.
something, when she passed, it's only happened now it's been 3 years, it's only happened twice. And
Wow.
just and little snippets. Nothing. These things would go on for freaking hours.
Oh my
Hours. I sometimes
goodness.
I would fall asleep listening to this, and other times I would wake up hearing it the same thing. I'd be driving, I'm like, "Why is this in my head?" It didn't really clue in until the last few days before she passed, and then it
Mhm.
sounded that was it. It was just done. So, I don't
That
know,
sounds
I
like a beautiful thing, though.
it was. Oh, it
Yeah.
was. Believe me, like, at first I thought, "'Cause I'm going mad, I can't keep listening to all this." It was keeping me awake, and then I just, I just said, "Okay," I conceded to it, and I just laid down, and I just let it take me, and it would
What a
just take
gift.
you. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible,
Yeah.
so it was just like, "Okay, this was pretty cool." And
Yeah.
now I beg for it. I'm just like, "Please, like, let me have this experience
Yeah.
again." So, something about my mom because nothing like that with my father. So, it wasn't that sort of a thing, it was just something to do with
Well, maybe it was your connection to her. We each connect differently with our
I
loved
I don't
ones.
I don't know. I mean, her
Yeah.
friend basically saying, "No, don't you realize the angels are singing for you to come home?" I'm thinking, "Hmm,
Wow.
hmm," but there's just, could be past life thing, could be a lineage thing, you know,
Yeah.
because there was something from many different parts of our lineage, like Norse drumming and, they have this way of chanting,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
many, many, many different things. I mean, I can't even peg, how many different, experiences that I was experiencing in song. It was
Hmm.
insane. Yeah, it was insane, but anyway, it's definitely a thing. We can tap in. We can tap in
Yeah.
somewhere with ease, I think if we are in the right frame of mind. We can easily tap into the ether. I mean, this many of us know, right? It's just even through doing energy work, I've just realized is how easy it is to tap in and work with different beings, and to be able to, you know, do incredible things. So I
Yeah.
think when you get those who are just born to prophesize, I often wonder, like I look at Baba Vanga as an example because she didn't never really considered herself, apparently, from what I've read, to be a super gifted individual, and she got struck by lightning.
Oh,
Her eyes no eyes, burned out her eyes, and ended up I mean, the president of the Ukraine at the time used her specifically for consultation because
wow.
her predictions were so accurate.
Hmm.
And right into these times, and she was probably one of our more, oh, it was Yugoslavia, sorry. She was probably one of our most recent, because I think she died, like, in the '80s or no, 1996 is when she died, and she said some interesting things in her prediction, one being that, just to mention a few, 2016, Muslims will take over Europe.
Oh,
That will
jeez.
stop to exist as we know it. Okay, so she's off, right? She's off on that. And then they said in 2018, a new China would become a world power. 2023,
Mm.
orbit of the Earth will change, even though no one knows what this means. 2025, Europe will still be a little settled. 2028 was the next big one, the creation of a new energy source.
Mm.
2033. Here it is, guys. Higher levels of the ocean as polar ice melts. And now we're experiencing the shift. Like the
The
North Pole
polar
has shifted
Yeah, the poles
towards
are shifting.
move towards Russia a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
scary.
2043, completion of Europe's transformation into the Islamic Caliphate. The economy of the world thrives under Muslim rule, and Rome is named its capital. Like these are some of her predictions, and um, I think sometimes we end up, you know, mediums tend to be off. Not, or people with prophecy. Like some of the things I read now, I'm kind of like, oh, we're seeing it now. And she's like, you're probably
Yeah,
about 8 years off, but it
yeah.
happens. The time thing is really hard
Let
to,
me ask you a question. Do you think that a lot of these prophecies are really self-fulfilling, like that the most powerful intersection of these prophecies come when someone believes in it, like their behavior aligns and changes to like align with it, ultimately causing the prediction? So, like, if on a global scale, everyone is believing in this prophecy, it may, yeah, kind of like a tulpa thing, I guess, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. Do you think any of it comes from that, or?
Well, I believe that we can manifest anything really as a collective, but I also believe that there are individuals out there, I'll leave it there, who can read something in a book and go, "Oh, this is a good idea," and kind of move it along a little bit, because sometimes just because you prophesy something doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And she had a really great track record.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can get into, I mean, people like Edgar Casey, he made all kinds of doomsday predictions and things like that. I mean, there are things that you can sit there, and if you focus too much on it, but again, does that become, do we bring it into fruition because we're so
Right.
focused on it?
Exactly.
Uh Oh, yeah, I remember this. I had a guest on at one time that was in a car wreck in the hospital. Angels would come and sing to her. She told them it was nice, but needed to sleep. They told her it wasn't for her, but it was to heal her. That's right. I remember this. I remember this. So I don't know. I think that we do have a lot of. We're more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. Really.
Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Like, I've had some trippy stuff happen after Joey passed, and I like to believe that it's him. I mean, it might be me. Maybe I'm creating the stuff. But
Mhm.
one of the weird things is that, like, I could be sitting in here working or whatever, or anywhere in my house, and all of a sudden it sounds like crash, bang, boom, like a picture or something fell off the wall
Mm.
and hit the floor really hard. So I get up panicked and I look everywhere, Michelle. And it sounds like it's 5 feet from me. It happened.
Hmm.
And I'm going around the house, opening closets. What the hell fell? This has happened about 8 times
Wow.
where this crash, bang, boom, nothing nefarious, just
Mm.
like sounds like something fell, like a heavy picture or a mirror fell, hit the ground. So I don't know. I can't make sense of it. It just, and I'm thinking maybe I'm doing that. Maybe it's like a poltergeisty
Oh.
thing where I'm creating
A
it. I don't know.
poultrygeist? Yeah. No. I
I
mean,
don't know what it is. All
I
I
think
know is it's real.
I think you have to ask yourself, what were you doing, or what was your frame of mind each time this happened?
Yeah.
Because psychokinesis is huge. I mean,
Yeah.
you can project energy. I mean, I've worked with people throughout the last couple of decades,
Yeah.
and you sit there and you're like, okay, it's a projection of energy because you're not
Right.
really finding, like, I mean, I would go to places and do the traditional investigation, but just like nothing. It's like crickets, nothing. And, to try to say to somebody, well, you're projecting energy, you know, I know I projected energy, in my youth, and same with, I mean, my daughter is just, "This is going on, and this is going on." I'm like, "I know
Yeah.
there's nothing there. I live in the same house. Stop it. It's you, it's you, it's you." But
Yeah.
again, with, young people going through a change of life and puberty,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
young girls, there's that whole emotional side of everything, and women going through menopause. There's this whole change again in the emotion level and the hormones and that,
Oh gosh, yeah.
right? You
It's
go like
tale of
yes.
events. But the weird thing is there's never anything that's fallen. It's just the
Mhm.
sound of it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I find that so like it happened 2 days ago. I guess that's why
Oh,
it's like in the forefront of my mind.
yeah.
And I was trying to think of like what I was doing or thinking and,
Mhm.
you're right. Yeah, I should try to correlate that and see what that is. But it's interesting how it's never like an actual picture that fell or something fell. It's just the sound
Yeah.
of it, and it's
Yeah.
loud. Like, it's loud. That's the trippy thing. So
Yes.
I don't know, maybe we're maybe a lot of the hauntings and things that people are experiencing, like you gave a perfect example before,
Mm.
we're actually causing them without consciously being aware of it. Maybe we're the creators of so much in our own lives, and we just
Mhm.
need to realize that
I
like
I agree
we
with you.
create it. Yeah.
I so agree with you on that. I always say, like, as human beings are very powerful. We just don't own our power, or we've just been,
Yeah.
taken out of you. And there's been, if you think about it, there's been so much effort put into subduing us. Can you
Gosh,
imagine
that's
if if
sad.
if not? I mean, it's exactly what it is. Submit, submit. We're going to keep you down.
Yeah.
Um, I hear radio voices when I'm falling asleep, like a radio in another room, voices, beats. Yep, same. I know
Yeah.
exactly what it is, isn't it? And so you're in that state as you're falling asleep
Yes.
as well, where you can definitely tap into some of this. Michael says the tumor is pressing on the pons brain stem, physically move the contents of my brain as far as symmetry had pushed my pineal gland as well, encroaching on the the trigeminal nerves. I feel like I will have superpowers, no doubt, and I
Oh.
have for decades. I love that. I love that, and the whole technological innovations from super AI computers are well connected to non-human intelligence interventions, world events. Our tech has been told by ET not to be trusted. As you
Mhm.
both have mentioned, our dependence on technology, yes, is all encompassing, and our world depends on it completely. I think it'll be a 50-50 with that for sure. This turn
Mhm.
away from external systems back into individual abilities seems to be the paramount overall inclination if we can get there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really excited to get my podcast up and record some music during this recovery phase. Boggy Notions podcast, I love it.
Very
Brian,
good.
something in the Brian Studios,
Congratulations.
Empathic Paranoia, the release of an album called Eerie. Yep, I love it, and I think you would do really, really well with it as well. Um, Foggy
Yeah, let
Notion.
us know so we could listen in.
Yes. I have large okay. During your recovery, I'll have large bangs and all
Oh.
kinds of audio explosions, especially right before I go to sleep. See? Right there.
Oh, wow.
I know. I
Trippy
know.
stuff, trippy stuff.
We should all be taught this as kids. Yes.
Gosh,
Yes.
we should. You're so
Yes.
right when you said that before, that so much is intentionally hidden from us, and it's so sad. Like, I find it so heartbreaking that
Mm.
so much of history and culture has been
Mhm.
intentionally hidden. I mean, even look at the Bible verses that have been excluded from
Mhm.
Bible. Like, why would they do that?
If
It's
you look
aw
at the Ethiopian Bible, which is one of the most complete,
mm,
um, I mean, there's one that's got over 2,000 different things in
wow.
it that are nothing like what we see now, and it's one of the oldest, and that's just that's just one, one version. But there's, I mean, it's a prime example of what it's on a need to know basis, and people decide what we need to know and what we don't need to know.
Elite, the
But
elite.
if you look at for example, like again, I will mention the Hopi, right, with their prophecy, because at the time of this prophecy, when it started to happen, I mean, this is no technology. They weren't, and they still, I'm sure they obviously have some technology. They're in modern times, but I think you have our indigenous people, the Aboriginal people. There are people throughout the world who still, lean on their oral history. And I'll tell you, they believe that. I'm just going to put this one out there. It's the time of the great shift, which is now. Okay. So the first sign said the white skinned people would come to Turtle Island, being North America, which it did. Second said, our lands will see the coming of spinning wheels with the voices. In his youth, my father saw the prophecy come through with his eyes. White men bringing their families in wagons across the prairies.
Mm,
This is the third sign. The strange beast like buffalo with great long horns will overrun the land in large numbers. These white feathers saw with his eyes the coming of the white men's cattle.
mm,
Fourth sign, the land will be crossed by snakes of iron, the train, right? The fifth sign, the land shall be crisscrossed by giant spider webs. They believe that this could have been like the telephone lines. The sixth sign, the
oh,
land shall be crisscrossed with rivers of stone, roads, maybe,
yeah,
right?
roads.
The seventh sign, you will hear the sea turning black and many living things dying because of it. Oil
Oh,
spills, perhaps. Eighth sign, you will see many youth who wear their hair long, like my people, come and join the tribal nations to learn their ways and wisdom. And the ninth sign, you will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, ceremonies of my people will cease, and the purification of Mother Earth will begin. So again, you're getting into the fourth world, nears its end,
mm,
marked by great
mm,
destruction and division.
yeah.
The fifth world, the birth is imminent, heralding a golden age of peace and harmony. The blue star has appeared, symbolizing the return of the ancestors and ancient wisdom. The red star approaches, signaling great change, purification, and the final awakening. The white star will soon appear, making the beginning of the fifth world and eternal peace. And this is what the Hopi elders declare. The time of the great shift is right now. And this is the return of the ant people. Like there's a whole thing. I've just picked off a few things when it comes to the Hopi prophecy. But this is one that people have actually been watching for a really long time, especially on this side of the world.
That's incredible.
Oh my God, yeah. The albino buffalo, well, it showed up, I think, a couple years ago. The white buffalo.
The
There is
predictions
so
are
much.
spot on.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
know. And again, there's a whole lot more about a global
Oh,
web covering the earth.
yeah.
Well, that's
Wow.
satellites, star
Yeah.
falling from the heavens. Like it's just like you see it. It's all there. Sickness and sudden departures rising. I'll leave that right there.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean we're living in it. We are
We are
living
living
in
it.
it, right?
But
So
it
I
ends
don't know.
good. It sounds like it ends good, the prophecy, right?
Well, if Mother Earth is basically, sort of going into rejuvenation and time of healing, is it because we're not here?
Well,
The ant people, the last time there was cataclysm, the ant people brought the ancestors, the Hopi, down below, and we hear these stories. It happened in Peru with the reptilians who brought down their people down until it was safe to come back above ground. That could have been a century. It could have been
yeah,
more. Who
absolutely.
knows?
I mean, it sounds like a purging, which isn't always a bad thing.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. You don't wanna be on the end of that purging, but yeah, you're right.
No, but,
You're right. Um, There are a slew of inclinations from the UFO phenomenon, groups and communities all pushing board next year as a crescendo or math effect event. Chris Bledsoe, a lot happening with that. Insights about Easter next year, whistleblowers warning about, yep, this type of tech events
Absolutely.
happening alongside non human intelligence events. Next year will undoubtedly be a new beginning. And if we are to believe some of the insights from some of those in the now in this field. I guess we'll see
We
because
will.
there's
And I think we need to keep a close eye on CERN because they have just manifested gold out
Mhm,
of some metal. So they used the Large Hadron Collider to
mm,
actually alchemize some mineral into actual gold. I think we
mhm,
need to keep a close eye on what these people are doing over there.
mhm,
That's just my prediction. I have a very itching feeling that they're going to be in the news big time with other
mm.
things that they're doing.
Yes. Well,
We'll leave it
portals.
there.
There's that's a that'll as we move in to the year,
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye maybe for another show.
Yeah.
Michael says there was a recent scientific study that found oceans underneath our crust. It's not a stretch to believe that there are vast areas underneath our perceived
Oh,
ground.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, absolutely. If you're looking into people who have experienced, and I guess I get into the inner earth again,
Mm,
or
yeah.
if that is indeed a thing, okay, and there have been people who claimed to have gone and come back. Look at the cave in Cambodia, which has its own ecosystem. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got a lake and it's got like a sun, like, I mean, is a sun being because a lot of people believe we have the earth has a great crystal. Is this what people are looking at as the sun, perhaps
Right.
through reflection and so on? We're not sure. But people have actually gone and come back. So is it NDE, out of body experiences? What is it? Is it, through entrances? We talk to all kinds of people. I mean, there's all kinds of people who have done numerous podcasts about this, who have guested on it, and who have, mine included, where they've gone someplace, found an entrance in through a mountain.
Yeah.
Mount Shasta said to believe that the ancient Lemurians are still there. So I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there are ways if they go underground. Maybe this is where we have a lot of different. Well, I hate to say extraterrestrial when they're very terrestrial, but other beings. But how do you factor in? You look, for example, in Tennessee, Virginia, that area are said to have numerous entrances to inner earth.
Absolutely.
Don says, yeah, he said, no, no, Navajo Nation, we've got an entrance. They're all over the place. Were these actual stargates or were these entrances into something that's very much still here? When
Mm.
the Hopi brought when they were brought down by the ant people, or in Peru, when they were brought down, the indigenous of that area were brought down by the reptilians. Where is this where they were taken?
Yeah.
You know?
I remember about 10 years ago, maybe longer,
That's
this
right.
video surfaced of, I think it was Russia that dug the
Yes,
deepest
thank you,
hole,
Michael. Yeah.
the deepest hole into the center of the earth, and they dropped a mic in there, and the horrific screams and yells that came out of there,
Mhm.
it was like mind-boggling. They said it was actually hellish what they recorded. I don't know if folks can remember.
Yes, they think they say it. They actually blocked it. Like, they closed that in so people
Oh,
couldn't hear that anymore. Yeah,
oh,
and there's another place, is it in Turkey? Where there's another area where they can go in and they hear those same sounds as well.
awful.
So, I don't know. Are they just listening to the sounds of the planet? Is it really screaming or is it screeching? Something, because I mean, in Russia, they drilled way down.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you
I don't know,
changing
it
as far as
sounded
the
like
dynamics
human
go?
it
Ah,
sounded like
yeah,
human screaming, like, you
yeah.
could say that, the human brain tries to make sense out of things that we hear and see, but, whether it's molten lava burning and making
Mhm,
these noises, I don't know, but it sounded like screams from humans.
mhm. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Wayne had said inner earth would lend to credibility to the ant people because not like ants live underground, but they do live
Mm.
underground like ants do, right? Yeah. Michael says, we observe this also true. UAP flying in and out of volcano mountains,
Oh, I've seen
oceans.
that.
It's not a stretch to think that ET craft could basically dwell in our rocky crusts, have
Mhm.
their vehicles have an unlimited base, too much of a which to house a large base and community of non-human intelligence. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, this is everywhere. And our oceans, like Heidi says, are pretty much unexplored. And there's a lot that come out of the oceans. Again, there are people who have claimed sea mariners see everything, for centuries. They would just travel the seas and see all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it's widely believed that there are civilizations in the oceans.
Oh,
There
gosh,
are
yeah.
aquatic non-human beings that have been spotted. You can call them mermen, mermaids, but or just ET. It's not out of the norm to think that they would be there. 2013, I was awoken in the middle of the night to the trumpet sounds that you all hear.
Mm.
Yes, those crazy trumpet sounds. It
Yeah,
sounded
they're
like
all over.
metal grinding or someone dragging a metal panel over gravel. It woke up my wife. I went outside, observed the sound coming from what we all believed it was all different directions, continued for 30 minutes until we gave up and went back to bed. I deep dove it and found it. It happened frequently worldwide.
Yes,
Yes,
it did.
there's videos of this stuff that you can get
Yeah.
anywhere, you know? So it's just a matter of, I think, realizing that we live in a really incredible place. Amazing things happen, and
Yes.
we ourselves could be you know, we could be making some of this happen, or maybe we just need to be open to some of
Yes.
this. I don't
And
know,
I
Kat.
agree. I'd love that too. And I think more and more of us are becoming open to it.
Mhm.
And and like I said before, sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming, but like you said, Michelle, pick and choose what resonates with you the most
Mhm.
and deep dive into that. And
Yeah.
that's what I do. Like whatever hits me the
Yeah.
hardest at that period of time, I'll start doing a deep dive into it.
Yeah, I think it's really important, that we pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention. Don't shrug it off, right? Don't shrug it off. I think it's very important that we take the time to maybe start investigating some of this stuff, like, really pay attention because we are really we're incredible beings. We
We are.
are essentially, like I say, how many times have we said this? An amazing energy, just having a human experience. And it's weird because I had, in the wee hours of the morning when you fall back asleep, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what is this all for? I just had a rough night. I dared to have a latte at like, 10:30, and it just
Right.
rebelled and said, you are not sleeping tonight.
That's
Wonderful.
right.
Maybe I can use my brain waves and try to pick up on something. But it was just like this image being constantly coming at me saying, because I'm like, what is this all for? Me trying to be all whimsical and get information. And it's just like, and simulation kept coming up. It kept showing me
Mm.
these images as this is what you asked for. This is your experience. What? Why would I want to do this? I'm for some of it, but not all of it. But it became sort of like this thing, like, goes, this is your experience. This is your learning, it's like an individual classroom just for you. Like, just,
But you
you
use
know.
the word simulation. Do you think that that's what we're existing in? I mean, that's a whole
Well,
nother show, but
I say simulation. I mean, their version of this aspect of what you're
mm,
experiencing was created for you. And I know
yeah,
Wayne's had things like this. I've heard people say this, but usually I often will say, just show me.
yeah,
And at this point, I'm like, what is this all for? It's what you asked for. This is your experience. Well,
yeah.
it's
That
great,
makes
but
sense.
I didn't ask for all the rest of the stuff going on in the world. I'm not thinking I'm enjoying this, but it's just stuff like that. So maybe we do need to look within to be able to
Absolutely.
understand what's outside of us. Maybe,
Abso-freaking-lutely.
maybe the way out is in,
That needs to be a bumper sticker.
right? Exactly. Okay, Carolann, who do you got coming up this week? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm so excited. And of course, and foremost, on January 1st, and Happy New Year's to everyone, at 5 p.m. ET, I'm having the goddess herself on.
Thank you. You're funny.
You are
I'll take it.
our
No.
goddess.
Yeah,
And the topic is Beyond the Ego, the Anatomy of Awakening and Spirituality. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then on
yeah.
Friday, of course, January 2nd at 3 p.m. ET, I am having on Alyssa Wells. She's the author of an incredible book. And we're going to be talking about heeding the call of the sacred wild, spirits
Ooh,
of stones, plants, and places.
wow.
Excited about that.
That sounds very intense.
Thank you, Michelle. What
Very,
about
very
you?
intense. Well, aside from, today and your show on Thursday, tomorrow night, everybody on the Outer Realm, we're going to put a segment from the earlier days of this show, Beyond the Outer Realm, because I got really great feedback, and I know that there are a lot of people who catch the shows at night who aren't here during the day. So it's going to be a New Year's Eve special Beyond the Outer Realm replay, because it is New Year's Eve, but it's new for the Outer Realm with Luke Eastwood, author of Scotia, the Lost Sister of Tutankhamun. And I had just started touching on this with another guest when Luke had messaged me and said, "Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And he ended up coming on quite a few times. He's just an amazing, amazing guest. So check that out. And
Will
of
do.
course, on the Outer Realm, spending it with you guys. And we're going to do a live show. Wayne is going to be popping in, of course, for another amazing open discussion on New Year's traditions and lore, superstitions, and ghostly tales.
Ooh,
I know. It's just going to be like
that's a must see.
outstanding. I think so. And it'll be a lot of fun as well, as always. And of course, I figured don't touch New Year's Eve. Everybody's got their own things going on, including,
Yeah,
including us. It'll be quiet, but it'll be nice. And I thought having Luke Eastwood would be just a really nice, laid back sort of
absolutely.
thinking show, because when you think Scotia, the lost princess, daughter of, or sister of Tutankhamun, daughter of
Mm,
Akhenaten, and you realize, wait a minute, the Celts were in Egypt,
yes.
and they were. So you see, the world just kind of shrinks a little bit,
Yes,
and you
it
kind of
does.
go, right?
I've had Luke on. He's great.
He is
He's great.
wonderful.
He
He's
really
wonderful.
is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, when he approached me with this book, I was all over it, and he's come on so many other times to talk about so many different things, and I really highly, highly recommend him. Great
Yeah.
for an uncensored show too.
Oh, absolutely.
Other platform.
Hopefully one day we won't have to be using that word anymore. We can just take it out of our vernacular.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Uncensored.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I would.
But, this isn't one of them, so I'm sure you guys will
Oh,
totally enjoy it, and,
Michelle,
yeah,
thank you
we
so
love
much.
Luke. It's awesome. Thank you for joining me. Everybody, happy New Year, because I will
Happy New
not see
Year.
you until the new year, literally, on January the 1st. So be safe out there tomorrow. Have fun, and,
Yes.
think about all those New Year's resolutions.
That
Making
we
my
don't keep.
list. That we don't keep. Oh my gosh. No, maybe we need to start just changing
Uh,
things around a little
yeah,
bit, which is a great one to start with. So,
absolutely. Love to
anyway,
all of you.
thanks everybody.
Michelle, love you dearly.
Love you back, my friend. Mwah. And we'll see the rest of you guys on Thursday evening. Good night. Good
Absolutely.
afternoon.